we all have a story to tell. It's amazing. We all have a story to tell. And one thing I've had a conversation and had a chance to talk to a couple people about, well, well, my story's not as deep as this person. Well, I don't have, a triumphant, I didn't come from across the country or world and come here with nothing. I don't have a story like that. But we all have a story. Like it's not just the physical part of that, it's the mental part. It's the story of fear, the story of insecurity, the story of fear of failure, the story of, believing our own bullshit we tell ourselves that holds us back from living the life that we want to live. Like, we all have a story to tell. When we become aware and open and honest and ready to share that with others, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's a breath of fresh air to damn, how many people I'm sure read these stories that happened this week and were like, damn, I feel like that too. I feel like that too. I feel like that too. And it just takes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 people to share that story to increase that connection. Vulnerability, when other people are vulnerable, you see strength, you see courage. Like, man, that person went deep. That person shared some very insightful stuff. Like, that person went raw. But for whatever reason, vulnerability for ourselves, we see it as weakness. We see it as something that's looked down upon within ourselves. And that's something that, let's learn through this process, the power of vulnerability, of others being vulnerable and sharing. Because what happens a lot of time, guys, the first thing I want to talk about is this whole bullcrap idea of perfection, right? And this idea about being perfect and the perfect mom or the perfect dad or the perfect professional or the perfect life or this Instagram life and Facebook life and these projections of it's got to be perfect. Like, I have all my shit together and I have no problems and everything's fantastic, and what are you talking about? Everything's good, everything's great. This mind shift of perfection. Perfection sucks. Perfection's not real. Perfection is boring. Who wants to be perfect? There's, it's something that takes so much energy out of us trying to be something that is never possible. And so much of the time we deal with this self-inflicted mind cancer that breaks our momentum to be who we really are. Because when we're trying to be perfect, we're trying to be something we're not. We're trying to be a perception of what we want others to see, but it's not who we are in here. And the more we see people be honest, the more we respect it. And you go to these different levels in life, and become a business owner, I gotta be this perfect person, and I can become a father. So these different stages in life, we understand this concept. We all understand perfection sucks, and why would you try to chase it? It's not real. Because we all know the people that just are honest and they're real and they're authentic, and they say things like, man, that's how I'm feeling. I connect with that. And this is when, if we just have that mind shift in our head that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to say you have flaws. It's okay to be who you are and be open and honest and real. And if others don't want to support that, well, then they're just not that important for you. I love this quote that I heard from one of my friends recently. Making a mistake is better than faking perfection. Making mistakes is way better than faking perfection. It's way less energy. It's more empowering. You learn through this process. We got to identify, what does progress look like for us? Is progress just doing the work? It's just doing, is it just doing the assignment? Is it just trying? Trying anything, try anything. Maybe smiling is hard for you. Maybe it's making a conversation, maybe meeting somebody new and just going up and being approachable, trying. Maybe that's a difficult thing for you because that deals with opening up to others and showing vulnerability when while some may say, oh, it's as simple as a handshake and a high five, how you doing? Others, it shows it's tough. They gotta be open, they gotta connect, and what if the person doesn't smile back? Or again, these are all stories that go through our head. But what does progress look like for you? And I want you guys to start to identify that, because progress is not the goal. Oh, well, how am I getting to my goal? Well, this is the progress. It's no, what's the progress? The progress is so much around the process. It's around the consistency. It's around the steps that you're taking. It's the slow progress that you're making. It's not biting off the whole thing. It's doing one thing at a time. So I want to encourage you guys, as you guys are going through this, is to identify what that progress of your success is. Now that you have your goals, what's the next checkpoint? What is the next slowly progressive checkpoint that you're gonna focus on? Now, what we need to do is we need to focus on identifying our strengths and our snakes. You see, like I said before, what are your strengths? Are you resilient? Are you committed? Are you optimistic? Do you have a can-do attitude, growth mindset? Are you so determined and inspired and motivated, it doesn't matter what, like you'll do whatever it takes. You'll get up early, you'll stay up late, you'll bust your ass, you're a hard worker. You've got to identify what are the strengths that you have within you. And you also have to identify the snakes. Now the snakes are the snakes that are outside of you. They could be the people that you surround yourself with. It could be the environment that you walk into. It's a toxic environment. I got to get away from this environment. Like it's too toxic. All these snakes trying to hold me down. It could be, are you fixed mindset? You have snakes in your own brain, snakes that you're planning. You have fear of taking action or trying something new. Insecurity, we have these snakes that are in our brain that prevent us. Like I said before last week, life is pretty predictable. You know the people in your life who are typically negative and pessimistic. You know the environments that you walk into that are typically negative and pessimistic, and that's just not a supportive environment. You know the places that you shouldn't be at that aren't gonna help you and aid you in your goal. You know the people that do support you and are super high energy and are super positive. Life is pretty predictable in the sense of listen to what is being thrown at you on a daily basis. Just listen to it, and that's the awareness piece. The more you want something, the more you're gonna get tested. Like the more you want positive people, you're actually gonna see like negative people like pop up, and because you're gonna be more aware, like I gotta like not surround myself with those type of people, that type of environment anymore. The more you wanna try to come in early in the morning, you're gonna be faced with obstacles on the way to the gym. All these are a test of your patience. It's a test of your resiliency. It's a test to see if you really want to make something happen or you just like the idea of it. Now, liking the idea of it is just putting a goal down and expecting it to happen. Just because you write a goal down doesn't make it come to life. There's a big difference between daydreaming and having a vision. And the difference between a daydream is that you only prepare for the best case scenario. You know, when you're daydreaming, it's, man, life is gonna be perfect. I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna have 2 kids that are gonna be so perfect and well-behaved, and they're never gonna like cuss or say anything wrong, and they're just gonna be perfect little angels in our perfect little house, and I'm gonna drive my dream car, BMW, and then I'll have a dream job, and it's gonna be perfect, and I'm never gonna have any problem. Like that's daydreaming, right? You only think of the best case scenario. Now, when you have a vision, you can plan for everything. Because a vision is the reality of what's gonna happen. You gotta identify what your direction is, what are your strengths, what are your snakes in the water that are gonna try to hold you back, competitors, things, whatever the case is. When talking from a business standpoint, what are your resources? And let's make a move. One of the last things I wanna share, it's getting in that fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And we see it all too often. You know, it's impossible to change when you have a fixed mindset. Like you're guaranteed nothing will change if you have a fixed mindset. Because no, this is the way it is, this is the way it's gonna be, everything's gone, everything's ruined, like this is bad, everything's bad, it's never gonna get better, I'm not good at this, I'm not fast at this, I'm terrible at nutrition, I'm terrible at exercising, I'm terrible, like that's fixed mindset. You've already set yourself up to failure, and I've been there before. That's a constant focus for myself to always be growth mindset. You know, never use a word is I am this or I am that. Like this is what I want to get better at. This is an area that I'm struggling with and I want to grow in a little bit more. From pessimistic to optimistic. When you're pessimistic, you don't give yourself a chance. When you're optimistic, you get a chance to learn. You get a chance to you give yourself a chance to win. You give yourself a chance to succeed. You know, and then when we embrace when we embrace, you know, failing and failing forward and using that as a learning opportunity to grow and take what didn't work and apply it to something else, that's when life becomes fun.